Yo, how you doing? This is Coach Carvel Bailey, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Coach Carvel Bailey's Lunch and Learn. This is the holiday edition. Now listen to me very closely. You want to share this. You definitely want to share this message. All right, bingo. Here we go. Here we go. I know what's happening. I know what's happening. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going live on IG. We got something new today. We got our IG people in the house with us today. But listen, I'm about to take a break to put in our theme music. But you want to share this. This is an ode to all assistant coaches. Head coaches need to listen and learn this too. But here's an ode to all assistant coaches.
Yo, just so you understand it, this is Coach Carvel Bailey's program with the spirit of Bob Hambry. This is Blessed to Ball, helping athletes, and we represent. Study your craft, your mentality leads to excellence. It's all about your mindset. We'll never stop addressing this, so be positive and not a pessimist. Confidence took James Harden higher. If you really want it, it ain't gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard as carbon fiber, but we got you. From counseling to workshops, we do it. You'll go farther with a scholarship. We'll help you get recruited. Yo, anyone can dribble and shoot, but it's the ones who study basketball internally that make it to Duke University. Knowledge goes around. The game is played from the neck up and not from the shoulders down. This is Blessed to Ball, helping you with obstacles. The athletes are the rocket. Blessed to Ball is the rocket fuel. If you hit a wall, we can help you slowly climb it. So keep a Mamba mentality like Kobe Bryant. Blessed to Ball. Cherish the opportunities that you have. Blessed to Ball. Use your mentality to master the craft. Blessed to Ball. Come join our team, it's a new day. Follow our steps and watch how much better you play. Blessed to Ball. Cherish the opportunities that you have. Blessed to Ball. Use your mentality to master the craft. Blessed to Ball. Come join our team, it's a new day. Follow our steps and watch how much better you play. Yo, Coach Carvel Bailey. Hey, listen to your coach, man. He ain't no scrub off the street. That man got credentials, academic and street. Believe it, and my name is Strategic.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Listen, before we get started, all right, I want to preface this show with this comment, all right, from a guy that I highly respect, Coach Conzo Martin, all right? Listen to this so that you'll understand the context behind what I'm about to teach today.
You'll win games, you'll lose games, and sometimes losses bring me to my knees where I don't want to get out of bed, but at the end of the day, I have to do what I do for my family and for these guys to show them this is what a man looks like. And that's all that matters to me. Yeah, I want to win every game, but if I can give them some important to their lives and help them understand this is the truth. It might sting you a little bit, but this is the truth. But we can get to this point if we do these things. Because if you're not teaching them life lessons, what are you really teaching them? You're wasting their time. Eventually, they'll be somebody's father. They'll be somebody's husband. They'll run a company one day. So if they're not learning those lessons now, then I didn't do a good job in teaching.
All right. If I didn't do my job, I didn't do a very good job at teaching, right? If I didn't say what I'm about to say today, I didn't do a very good job at teaching. I want you to tag any head coach that you know. I want you definitely to tag any assistant coach that you know. Now, this conversation is out of love, so it may be a little bit difficult for some people to gather and understand. But I'm all about truth and I'm all about helping. So this is why we're here. Now let me preface this. Anyone out there in the basketball world, in the basketball community, please drop your city and state. Let me know where you're coming from. All right. Let me know where you're listening from, where you're watching this episode from. But anybody working with youth in any form or fashion, hats off. I salute you. Anybody that's giving of their time, their energy, sometimes their money, I salute you for giving back to the youth. giving back to the younger generation. Let's just say that, because there are some college coaches that will watch this, right? There are some semi-pro, some pro coaches that will watch this, not just middle school, not just high school, but I salute you for night in and night out giving of your time. Listen, I've done it for 30 years. I understand. But now let's clean this thing up. All right. Basketball is out of control. It's out of control. And my coaches are not being properly taught. Now, I've held coaching clinics. No one really shows up. I've had sessions like this. We've had masterminds, and very few coaches really are involved in professional learning, professional development. And this is why the game is so out of control right now. All right. Now, watch this. Coach Edgecombe, right? San Antonio, Texas, by way of Country Club Hills. He is always a student of life, not just a student of the game, but a student of life. He's always tapping in to get some education. Jay, do me this favor. Please tap this in. I need every coach on your platform to see this. I need every coach on your platform to see this, because this conversation started from me attending a tournament yesterday. Now, I'm just not going to be negative Nancy. This is all about teaching today. This is all about teaching. Now, I was at a Christmas tournament yesterday, and 3 out of the 4 games, there were administrative issues. 3 out of 4 games that I saw yesterday, there were administrative issues. Majority of the games that I did see, they have a lot of people in their program. And I've already prefaced what I've prefaced. So if you didn't see it, whatever, just hey, and Jay, I definitely appreciate it, right? I've already prefaced it. Thank you for your time, right? This is not to poop on nobody today. This is to educate my head coaches as well as my assistant coaches. Now, somewhere along the line in the travel ball and the AAU sector, right, the game has gotten distorted. And it's more about being seen, right? It's more about being seen than really educating or really developing. It's really about being seen to a lot of adults. And that's unfortunate for the players, for the youth, because you have a lot of people around them. But what purposes are they serving? So my head coaches, let me start with you. The same way, if your team doesn't have roles, your team will probably be controlled, chaotic. Your coaches need roles too. So today, we're going to talk about 3 things. We're going to talk about bench decorum. We're going to talk about roles and responsibilities. And we are going to talk about traits. So I'm speaking to my assistant coaches. I want to make you all better. At some point, as an assistant coach, you're an assistant coach to one day grow into a head coach. And your head coaches should be teaching you and helping you establish your way to eventually run your own program. But let me be clear. AAU, travel ball, club ball, all those things is not high school, college, middle school basketball. Those are 2 totally different things. So please, can we stop trying to simulate one into the other and think that they're synergistic, because they're not. Spring ball, summer ball is not the same as winter ball. It's not. But we're bringing these traits into winter ball, and it's not effective. Again, 3 out of 4 games, there were administrative issues. What do you mean by administrative issues? Wrong uniforms, players not in the book, players not on the roster, right? Administrative issues that should have been handled by multiple coaches in a program. Now, it eventually falls on the head coach because it makes the head coach look bad. So here's why I'm having this conversation, because 3 out of the 4, right? I know the head coach. And I like the head coach. And I don't like people that I like looking bad when it's multiple people around them. So let me help out my assistant coaches. If your head coaches may not have time to help you out, let me help you out a little bit. All right. First thing, let's talk about traits. Traits of a good assistant coach. Now, I've been a head college coach, 2 different colleges. I have the all-time winningest record at both colleges. I've been an assistant high school coach. I've been an assistant college coach. I went from assistant to head coach to back to assistant on both varsity and or high school and college levels. So when I speak about assistant coaches, I understand the roles of assistant coaches because as a head coach, I know what to look for in assistant coaches. So first thing, my head coach, you may have a lot of people around you, but you may not have the right fit to take care of the things that needs to be taken care of in your program. The same way that players have to find the right fit, coaches have to find the right fit. And not only do assistant coaches need to find the right fit for them, but head coaches need to find the right fit with the assistant coaches for their program. We're going to teach today. If you're ready to learn, just type a 1. I just want to know who's on here with me and who's following, because this is really coming from the heart, because this was embarrassing. This was embarrassing to the game of basketball. Now, here are some traits of good assistant coaches. Good assistant coaches, 1, needs to be selfless. They need to be selfless. I mean, good assistant coaches have to put others before them. The second thing, right? And see, here's where the fall off comes, because everybody wants to be a pro, but nobody understands what it means to be professional. Everybody want to be a pro, but nobody knows what it takes to be professional. So most people don't want to hear this, which is why we can consistently are in this struggle. So traits of a good assistant coach: they have to be selfless. They also have to be attentive. They have to pay attention to the details. Another trait of a good assistant coach is they have to be valuable. What value are you bringing to the head coach? What value are you bringing to the players? What value are you bringing to the parents? What value are you bringing to the program? So we got good assistant coaches have to be selfless, they have to be attentive, and they have to be valuable. But good assistant coaches have to be consistent. They have to be consistent. We talk to our athletes all the time about consistency. Assistant coaches got to be consistent too. They got to be consistent. And along with consistency, they have to be reliable. Can that head coach rely on you? Nowhere in the world should there be an administrative tech and you got 10, 12 coaches on your bench. No way. Can I rely on you? Can I depend on you? Are you consistent? Are you valuable? Are you attentive? Are you selfless? And here's the last thing, really. Every assistant coach doesn't have to be knowledgeable. Part of the job of the head coach is to help nurture, build up, and teach the assistant coach things that they don't know. What I'm sharing or teaching today, most people may say, hey, I already know that, but some don't. So I'm helping with the knowledge, right? You have to be knowledgeable, but you don't have to know everything about basketball, but you have to be willing to learn. Are you a student of the game? Are you? Most aren't. Most people now just want to be seen. Head coaches, get all these people off your bench. It's embarrassing, especially if they're not productive and if it's not effective. Let them sit behind the bench. Don't you see in the NBA, all those coaches, like they got hella coaches in the NBA now too, but most of those dudes sit behind the bench or friends of the program, consultants, whatever it may be. Put them in back of the bench. I saw a game yesterday where the players had to sit on the floor because there was too many assistant coaches on the bench. So that's traits. Now let's get into some bench decorum. My assistant coaches, your job, again, we talk about selfless. Your job, assistant coaches, during timeouts, you need to get water. Make sure the head coach has water. Make sure that the associate head coach or the one that's right next to the head coach, right? Make sure they're straight. Make sure the players have water, right? Make sure your managers, make sure you're talking to the managers about what to do. I went to a game 3 years ago when my daughter was in high school and she was still cheering, and the players were coming off the bench and they were parched. It was a Bloom Kenwood game, and they were parched. And I'm telling one of the assistant coaches, I say, man, tell the managers have water ready for these players come like they're giving all they can, and nobody got water for them. But the players on the bench drinking water. Like, what is that? So even if the players don't get it, assistant coaches have to be ready to let the players know, let the managers know what to do during these timeout situations. Get water, get towels, organize the timeouts. If it's a 30-second timeout, let everybody know, okay, up. If it's a full timeout, right? If it's a 30, right? Everybody up. If it's a full timeout, everybody sit down. Are your players behind the bench? Behind the players, right? Or are your players in back of the coach? Like, how are you all structuring the timeout, right? How is the timeout being structured? So can you organize the timeouts? Can you be valuable and just organize the timeouts? So when the head coach comes in to the huddle, he's ready or she's ready to administer whatever adjustments need to be made. And then assistant coaches know when and who to talk to. You got to know when to talk to somebody. You got to know who to talk to. That means the referees. That means the players. That means the coaches, whoever, right? Know when and who to talk to. I was sitting next to two officials yesterday, and the first thing that they said was they started counting the coaches. And they was like, dang. And my question was, okay, so how many of them are y'all hearing from? They was like, one. The rest of them dudes better not say a thing. It turned the officials off. So they fuse is already short. How many of these dudes are y'all really listening to? How many of these dudes can talk to you? They was like, one. The rest of them better not say nothing. Tech. Bench decor. Right? What are our roles? As an assistant coach, when I first got to the college level, I had a whole lot of jobs. But the most important job that sticks with me today, do you know what my head coach had me do before every game? He said, I need you to go introduce yourself to the referees before every game and remember their name. And come let me know their first name. So now as I'm addressing them, I can call them by their name. Now, I had a thing, right? It'd be like, oh, ref, and right, $30 to get it, right? And it wouldn't work well for me. But then I started being like, excuse me, Mr. Ref, excuse me, Miss Ref. I got a little bit more attention when I was calling them Mr. and Mrs. But when I found out their name, Jack, when the coach had me do that, how you doing? I'm Coach Carvel Bailey. How you doing? I'm Mark Russell or whatever, right? Boom. Okay. The bald head one name is Mark. The one that is, kind of short, his name is Russell. And the black guy name is Steve. Well, now when the coach is talking to them in those pressure situations during the game, the coach can call them by name. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm really trying to help my assistant coaches out here. I'm trying to help y'all be valuable. Know who to talk to, when to talk to them, and why you're talking to them. That's your players as they come off the bench. Know who to talk to, when to talk to them. Sometimes the head coach may take a player off, and they don't want nobody to say nothing to them because they want that player to really think about and process what went on before somebody be like, oh, hey, man, don't worry about it. You good. No. There were timeouts where I would be like, I need everybody to listen to me. I need everybody to listen to me because I got my assistant coaches who were great guys. I had 3 who are great guys. But there were a point in time during our timeouts, again, bench decorum, if everybody talk, everybody, sometimes, not a lot, right? But sometimes I used to have to be like, everybody be quiet. I need everybody to listen to me. This is the only voice that I need y'all to listen to right now at this time. Y'all got all these coaches on the bench. You got everybody in their ear. Everybody in their ear. So know who to talk to and when to talk to them. So we talked about traits of a good assistant coach. Be selfless, be attentive, be valuable, be consistent, be able to be dependent on, be reliable, be knowledgeable. Bench decorum, right? Get water, get towels, organize timeouts, know when and who to talk to. That means referees, players, coaches, parents, etc. Because every official not gonna like every coach, every player not gonna like every coach, right? Every coach not gonna like every coach. Now we get into a conversation that most people don't want to talk about. That's why I said selfless. Half these dudes y'all got on y'all bench probably don't even like one another. I'm going to say that again. Half these dudes that a lot of these coaches have on their bench may not even like one another because they're all jockeying to get close to the head coach because they believe that's going to help them get a better opportunity at getting their position later. That's just not so. So we got bench decorum, we got traits. Now, let's get into roles and responsibilities. Here's where it's gonna hurt a little bit. Here, but now that I done gave y'all, right? So y'all know I'm teaching, right? If I'm teaching in here, I just want you to type teach, right? If I'm teaching, if I can continue to teach, just drop teach in the comments. If I mean, just let me know if I can teach this, because this one is gonna get a little bit iffy. But if I can really teach this thing, I just want y'all just to drop teach. Because this thing really about to get a little pushy. Roles and responsibilities of my assistant coaches. Yep. Roles and responsibilities of my assistant coaches. Please know your personnel. Please know your personnel. Know your personnel. We tell players all the time, know your personnel. We tell players, know KYP, know your personnel. But coaches need to know their personnel too. We need to know, right, who's shooters, who's the best free throw shooter. Listen, in scout, as an assistant coach, when I would come get my folder, it would have everything in it. If you expect for players to know plays and to know things, coaches got to know them too, man. Let's stop holding players to a certain level that we don't hold the coaches to. That's for my head coaches, right? But know your personnel, but also know tendencies. Who's a driver? Who floats with finishes? Who gets all the way to the cup? Who's a mid-range assassin, right? Who's the long ball shooter? Who's the defender? Right? Who do we have a mismatch on if we switch? Who goes over their left shoulder? Who goes over their right shoulder? Right? Like, know the tendencies of players. I tell my players all the time, if you understand offense, what gives you an advantage on offense, then you understand what you need to do on defense to not give that advantage. If you understand what gives you the advantage on defense, then you need to make sure that you attain that advantage on offense. It works both ways, people. Know your personnel and know tendencies. No tendencies. I saw a dude yesterday get up like 4 threes and he missed. Coach took him out for a minute. And this is why I talk about know when and who to talk to. That was the point in time when somebody should have pulled that person to the side and be like, get to the basket, get to the free throw line, and then get your rhythm back. No personnel, no tendencies, but here it is. No details. Know the details. What are the timeouts? How many timeouts do we have? Is the head coach, right? Does the head coach understand that? Do the players in the timeout go back to the timeout decorum, right? Do the players understand how many timeouts that we have? Do the players understand how many timeouts they have? So now we can put pressure on them because we're putting them in a certain situation. Know the personnel, know the tendencies, know the details, right? Timeouts. Where's the possession arrow, right? So do we need to foul right now or do we need to go for the tie up? Clock recognition, right? Clock recognition, right? My boy Cornelius Crosley is on here, right? And I don't think Corn minds if I say this, but and I'm gonna say it if he minds or not, because I don't think it's bad, right? I was a consultant for Rich Central basketball team with Coach Crosley, probably 2 years. Nobody really knows that but myself and Coach Crosley, because it wasn't my point to go share it if he didn't necessarily want to share it. But the one thing that Coach Crosley, and I think he took a lot from me, but one thing that the aha moment was when we discussed closing out quarters. But in order to close out a quarter, you have to have clock recognition. So to close out a quarter, you should get a stop or you should get a score. Well, I shared this one time with somebody who's coachable, one time. And their end of quarter stops shot up. I mean, Corn, if I'm lying, just please tell me on public forum that I'm telling a lie. But when he as the coach, because his assistant coaches wasn't doing it, but when he as a coach understood, okay, maybe it's 30 seconds, 45. What do we need to do? Are we going to hold the ball the whole 45 seconds? Are we going to not score and come back and get a stop? But he understood the concept and the principle. Close the quarters out strong. Because if you can win 3 or 4 quarters, you're going to win the game. You give up a bucket at the end of this quarter, right? You don't score at the end of this quarter. That momentum carries over. Now, Coach Crosley is a college assistant coach at this point in time. But he's still coachable. He's still coachable. Clock recognition. But how about assistant coaches? Do you understand what's working and what's not? Do you understand what's working and what's not? Most don't. And here's why most don't, right? Do you understand what players are working? What units are working, right? Putting certain players in the game together. What's not working when you got them in the game together, right? 2 bigs or 3 bigs, we slower, or, right? Put these dudes in. Now it's a mismatch. We're not big enough. We're not fast enough. But here's why most teams don't know what's working and what's not. All y'all sitting on the bench. All y'all sitting on the bench. And majority of y'all don't even have a clipboard. I'm going to say that again. Majority of y'all sitting on the bench. Assistant coaches. I'm talking to the assistant coaches. The ones that got the nice matching shirts on and everything, right? Now, it ain't all, because I did see some assistant coaches in those 4 games valuable. Some was stretching players out pregame, right? Some was on the iPad, ones that was tracking, right? Some had the board for the head coach, right? So it wasn't all. But if 20% of the coaching staff is being valuable, then get rid of the other 80%, at least during the game. Y'all just sit back here. You got all these coaches on the bench and nobody got a clipboard. So what are we tracking? How do we know this player on our team is 3 for 7 3-pointers? We just, we want to, ring it up, 3, do all that right on the bench. But how many have they missed? And where have they missed them from? Can we come at halftime or during the timeout and say, hey, man, do you know that you 0 for 3 from the left wing, but you 3 for 3 on the right wing? Take your ass to the right wing and shoot the ball. But we ain't tracking. So how are we helping the head coach? How are we helping the head coach? We not. But more importantly, how are we helping the players that we supposed to be serving? How are we helping the players that we supposed to be serving? Right? Mike said he was just talking to his assistants about it. But how many head coaches really got time to teach things that they believe people already know? Right? Now I'm going to go out on another limb. But this is why I say that majority of head coaches, and I'm going to narrow it down to my area, right? This is why a majority of the head coaches in the Chicagoland area, I say, are selfish. I say majority of the head coaches in the Chicagoland area, particularly in the suburban area, are selfish. Because they just passing around the same misinformation to everybody else. I've reached out to multiple head coaches. Hey, just let me come in and talk to your team, talk to your assistants, talk to you. Most people, they just want free information. And I'm giving free information right here. But we just had a head coach say he just talked to his assistant coaches about that. But how effective can he be if he's also trying to scout or deal with other things, to where it's like, listen, I'm going to bring in a professional. I'm going to bring in an expert, a subject matter expert to be able to help us. Most people don't do that. Most people don't do that. Coach Thomas, right? College assistant, went from high school, college head coach, college assistant. He understands the nature of what I'm talking about in terms of assistants. He's been an assistant now for about, how long now? It's probably about 8-9 years now after being a head coach. And do you know why he's such a great assistant coach? Because he knows what it takes to be an assistant coach, because he's been a head coach. So he understands what he needs to do to make sure that the head coach ain't even worried about those things. And guess what? Coach Thomas, when I first had my first cohort, of coaches, right? Said, listen, let me give you the assessment. Let me break it down to you. Let me show you how I can help your coaching staff, your players, your life, your family, everything. Coach Thomas was there 9 years. Coach Thomas sat in on that workshop with all Division I coaches. And I still use his testimonial to this day. But he understands his coaching style, how it helps his players and what he needs to do. But I mean, I'm just saying, if players want to go to the next level, most coaches do too. But if we aren't tracking nothing, Corn, you were the first. Corn, you were the first. Now, on that workshop with all those D1 coaches, you weren't there. But me and you sat in Harry Rake's classroom. I'll never forget that. Me and you sat in Harry Rake's classroom one day early in the morning. I didn't have a class and you didn't have a class. And me and you spent the whole hour, and I kind of semi broke the assessment down to you. But me and you said, but you understood what I was telling you for the time in which we were dealing with. And then after that, we was in the lunchroom and you was like, KB, how much is the investment? I was like, what you talking about for this pizza? He was like, how much do I have to pay you to come be our consultant? And me and you sat down and we worked up a number and we made it happen. And y'all went from being winless this time of the year, Big Dipper, to going to the sectional championship the same year. So yes, you were the first. But I'm just saying, coaches, what are we tracking, man? What are we tracking? I don't want to see an assistant coach on the bench for the remainder of the year without, if they don't have a clipboard, you better have some paper and a pencil or a pen with you. Please, 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 please. Some could be tracking timeouts. Some could be tracking turnovers. Some could be tracking free throws. Some could be tracking field goals made, field goals attempted. Some could be tracking deflections. Some could be tracking touches, right? Do you understand scientifically? And I learned this from Coach Buzz Williams when he was at Marquette back in the day, right? But do you understand that there's a scientific study that shows that teams who touch the most, hand claps, high fives, smacks on the butt, taps on the back, all of those fist bumps. Do you understand teams that have the most touches during the games generally have the highest winning percentage? Now, I just gave that one to y'all for a bonus. Are your players touching? Because touching brings a connection. Touching brings a connection. How many touches do they get? My teams, after every sprint, everybody would have to, right, touch. Everything we do, y'all touching. That's why I had the highest winning record at both colleges I was at. Not because I believe I'm great X and O's, but I understand people. And I put it together. Okay, what you want me to send to you, Jay? Let me go through these comments for a minute. Aaron, how you doing, Aaron? Aaron, where you checking in from? Marcus, say facts. Also, say some to athletes, right? They just be on the bench looking cool. That's what I'm saying. Like, say something. But know when to say something. Everybody can't be hollering at the same time. Now you're confusing the athlete. Getting water should be damn near. Hey, Jay, it should be. But not if you got selfish people. They only talk to the role players about their mistakes. Ooh. Nothing to the star player. Now, as a teacher, as an educator, and I explained this to my students the other day, right? Again, knowing people, this thing is all mental. But listen, as a teacher, if a student takes a test and they get 5 out of 10 right, am I going to put -5 out of 10 or am I going to put +5 out of 10? It goes back to Marcus' point. They talk to the role players, whoever they talk to about their mistakes, right? When I grade tests, I put plus over. So I'm going to put +5 over 10 because you got 5 right. If I put -5, I'm focusing on the negative. You got 5 wrong. So now if I tell the player everything they did wrong, again, remember, you're 0 for 3 over here. You're 3 for 3 over here. Go over here so you can be more successful. Does that make sense? Right? I had a player, Michael Jackson, right? Mike Jackson. We was playing Hall of Famer, right? Illinois basketball Hall of Famer Deion Thomas. He was at Lewis and Clark. And we was at Truman, right? We was at Truman College. And Mike was getting money from the left side of the court. And he understood the pattern. And we was running up court. They was running up court and on our secondary fast break. And one of the players ran up his side 2 times in a row. And we came to timeout. And Mike told him during the timeout, he said, hey, man, I'm the 3, you the 2. He said, run on the other side of the court. I'm getting money over here. And now it was I think wound up winning to Lewis and Clark. Deion Thomas, and they was ranked like number 7 in the country at that time. Truman only had like 8, 7 players. And I think we wound up winning by about 9, right? And they was nice. But it was a close game, and we couldn't do nothing but start busting up during the timeout because he told his teammate right. He said, I'm getting money over here. Go over there. Let's focus on what players do right. All right. Coach Steve Hawkins, Hawk, right? Hawk is at Quincy right now. But when Hawk was at Western Michigan, Hawk taught me about sandwich criticism. He said, when you bring a player in, don't just talk about everything they did wrong. Here's sandwich criticism. He said, tell them something good and then put in the criticism and then back it with something else good. So, hey, your defense was good tonight. But if you stop reaching, you wouldn't get as many fouls. Because we really need you on the court at the end of the game. That's sandwich criticism. I just gave him 2 compliments. We need you in at the end of the game. You play pretty good defense. But I said, stop reaching in the middle. It's more receptive. is more receptive. Exactly. Officials don't want to hear nobody. There you go. All them. Now, if you have a respectable relationship with an official, that may be different. Professionally, that's why I'm saying everybody want to be pro, Jay, but most people don't know how to be professional. So again, if you introducing yourself, right, doing warm-ups or what, everything, just go right, shake. Now, I've built a little rapport with the officials. So now I may not shout at the official during the game while I'm sitting on the bench, but during the timeout, I may walk up to the official personally and I may ask a question. And then I'm going to bring it back to the core, to the group. Yep. Good info on the refs. Now, hey, Jay, that was a game changer, right? When I learned that, that was an automatic game changer for me, right? If you are the assistants, you and the assistant same page, sometimes it's understood. Sometimes, yeah. You got to pick your spots to be vocal as an assistant coach. There you go, Faye, right? And you know, because guess what? There's some head coaches that tell you, shut the hell up and don't say nothing. So you got to know when and how to do that. Yep. It was two different people saying the exact same thing 99% of the time. That's what assistant coaches need to do. Assistant coaches need to know how, and it's not even code switch. But if the head coach says something, and here's what happens. The head coach says something, and then the player goes to the assistant coach that they know is going to kind of cuff them under the wing, tell them, don't worry about that. That's not the dude that you need on your staff. The dude you need on your staff is going to maybe say, hey, you understand why, right? I'm still cuffing them, but you understand why coach getting on you. Because we expect this, we expect that, and now watch this. I know you capable of doing it. So let's get it done. Now, I made the player feel comfortable the same way, but I've reinforced what my head coach saying. I ain't like, man, don't worry about that shit, man. Shoot it when you old, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this player played with me in the spring. Or I know this player's parent or whatever. That ain't good for the team, man. Yeah. We had the best coaching staff in 2007, 2010, Hillcrest High School. I learned how to coach. I want y'all to listen to the last sentence he said. I learned how to coach. Most people just think that coaching is like watching First Take. That's not coaching. That's not coaching. You have to learn it. You have to learn it. Bingo. Seeing so many assistants on the bench, they are not tracking any stats. That's what I'm saying. What are we doing? New rule. New rule. To all my assistant coaches. If you want to earn your spot, if you want to earn your seat, track something. Now, you don't have to have a paper and pen so that I can see, but you need to be tracking something. Otherwise, get off the bench. Get off the bench. Because guess what? There are friends of the program, people in programs that come to practice every day, give of their time, helping out the kids, helping out the coaches. And guess what? Some don't want to be seen. But I'm saying this, and I'm saying it respectfully. There are a lot of people out here that just want to be seen, especially in big moments. And so they're on the benches. There's a guy named Fred Stovall, played for King High School when they were ranked #1 team in the nation. Stovall, Fred, right? He was an assistant coach for Simeon for years. He was the head sophomore coach at Bogan for a minute with Johnny Selvey. And then he was the head coach for a minute there. And then he went back. He went to Simeon and was an assistant coach, and they won all them championships. Do y'all know what Fred's role was on that Simeon team? Now, Fred is arguably one of the best point guards to ever come out of the city of Chicago. And y'all know I don't give people certain things like that. Schofield, that's Stovall Schofield. Fred Schofield is arguably one of the best point guards to come out of the city of Chicago all time. All time. Fred Schofield's job for Simeon Wolverines, when Rob Smith was winning all them championships, Fred Schofield's job was he was the stat keeper. Fred Schofield never sat on the bench. You know where Fred Schofield sat? At the scores table. Fred Schofield sat at the scores table all those years when Simeon was running it up. And he kept stats. Probably one of the best point guards in Chicago history. Go do your research on Fred Schofield. And Fred would sit there, man, with his pen and his paper. Fred checking the main scorebook. Fred got everything together. Wasn't no administrative issues. He understood his role. So like Coach said, they sitting on the bench not doing nothing. It's crazy. Yep. Still coachable. Got to be coachable. I pray for the game. I do too. I do too, G. And there are a lot of people, and now you by way of right Illinois and Cali now, I'm now seeing a lot of NBA players like, I can't watch this. It's bad. I have spreadsheets that I have created to do in-game tracking. Nigel Thomas has tremendous insights. Hey, man, listen. I'm telling you. Like, what are we tracking? What are we tracking? Yeah. Hey, Mike, let's sit down and do it, man. Let's sit down and do it. You will be abnormal by doing that. You'll be abnormal because most ain't doing it. But it's gonna help you and your team so much. Like, it's gonna help you. And guess what? I'm coming with something brand new at this point, because not only do we have the same thing, right? But December 31st, right? Rise above the rim. This is the first. This is the first and only affirmation workbook, right? You see it in the back over here. That's over here. Well, over here, right behind me. Cover I made for middle school. Those are my first two books. Oh, okay, I can't get it right. All right, that's the old book. That's the old books. That's the new book. All right. It's a mirror image, right? So boom, right? This one is the new book, right? These two are the old books. But the very first affirmation workbook. All right. Listen, this thing. Most people wait till their adults start saying affirmations. But here, this book is not only does it break down the affirmations based on their position, but there's also a running workbook, right? It's also a running workbook where they have to take their reflection notes. So we got affirmation of the point guard, shooting guard, center, power forward, small forward, six man. It takes you through some of your favorite players nowadays, their use of affirmations, embracing the journey with positive affirmations, success stories of some of your favorite players. And then in the back, we have our basketball bonus, in which it's a full-fledged workbook, right? The whole book is a workbook. After they get done reading each chapter affirmation for their actual position, then they can track their notes, their affirmations, but also, right, it's an actual workbook here, right? So you see, right, the first thing, resources and strategies for personal development, identifying personal challenge. What's your motivation? Name 3 reasons why you play this game, right? And so we go through all of it. And so, Mike, to the point that I'm making, now when I come in, right, I'm not only coming in sharing, right? So we have clinics in which during the workshops and the clinics, we can break down some of these things in the book, and each player should have their own book because your players are talking to themselves anyway. But why not talk positively to themselves about what they're able to do, what they're capable of doing, what they know their strengths are, right? The very first and only affirmation workbook, right? Affirmation workbook for basketball players, right? You see the affirmations, right? So you see over here, they got the affirmations here and then there. Listen, this is a game changer. I know some people got Jordans for Christmas. Some people got, gym shoes and arm sleeves and all that stuff is going to wear off. This, it goes from here to here into here. Book, mind, heart. All right. So that's how we coming, right? With that, right? They were hard on my boy in December, eating crow and Mark. Hey, Edge, you remember that? People was calling for Corn's job, man. They was calling for his job. Y'all winless? I think they won one game, the Big Dip. I think they won that their last game. And I was sitting in the gas station and I was texting Corn about closing the quarters out. I remember exactly where I was sitting when I was texting Corn. And he never asked me to text him. I just texted him because we worked together, right? And that was my guy. And he was receptive to what I was saying. So I was giving him the game where I thought I could help. But guess what I also told him? I said, man, them dudes sitting on your bench ain't helping you. Some of the dudes sitting on his bench wanted his job. Now that he gone, we can talk about it. But some of the dudes sitting on the bench wanted his job. All right, I'm going to digress from that. All right, I was telling Corey, send me the spread. Okay, the spreadsheet. Yep, I never paid attention to this until you just brought it up. What, D? About what? Most don't. I didn't see this. The KB put it up. Yikes. Which one, Jay? All these assistant coaches are handlers for all of the players and their egos, AAU consultants, etc. I wouldn't even call them AAU consultants. I would call them what you said at first, handlers. And most are fumbling. When the assistant coaches leave the program, they are taking the player with them. And so some head coaches feel in bondage. So Corn, I'm glad that you said that. Let's release some head coaches from bondage right now. Let's release some head coaches from bondage. If you have coaches on your team because you feel like without them you're not going to get good players, it's time that you find you a coach. It's time that you as the head coach find you a coach to help you improve your craft so that you can then better develop people and better develop players. Because if you, and here's what my personal and business coaches told me, and they all live in Atlanta. If you allow people to feed you, then you unconsciously give people permission to starve you. I'm going to say that one more time. If you allow people to feed you, then you unconsciously give people permission to starve you. So there are some head coaches out here that are in bondage because they know that these coaches may not be the right character, have the right integrity, but they have a connection to players. And so they allow things to go on from the players, from the coaches, and it doesn't align with their values, with their morals, with their principles. And that coach is in bondage because basketball is a results business and it's about wins and losses. And coaches feel like if I get rid of this coach, to Coach Crosby's point, they taking this player with me. Let me release you from bondage. Find your coach that can really help you. Now, if you want me to coach you, I'm more than willing to do that. But find you a coach that can help you get that weight off your back of feeling like you're indebted to an adult that's not bringing you value other than players who may be able to put the ball in the basket, but they too are a headache. Just cut your losses early, man. Just cut your losses early. All right. That was just something that I just thought about there, Corn. I mean, I'm just saying. Oh, sandwich criticism. Yep. Think like a head coach, act like an assistant. There we go. There we go, NT. There we go, NT. Think like a head coach, act like an assistant. Most don't, right? Have solutions for your head coach and don't point out the obvious problems. As a head coach, I don't need certain things shouldn't even get back to me as a head coach. What do I have you for? There are certain things that I need to know, but there's certain things that shouldn't even get back to me. My assistant coaches did a great job of making sure certain things didn't get back to me. The players would say something, like just off the whiff, and I'd be like, huh? And my assistant coach would be like, Coach, man, don't worry about that. It's a good thing I don't know, because I don't need to be in that mind state. We're trying to win games and develop humans. I don't need to be in that mind state where I'm always fussing. Does that make sense? Right? Yep. How do you feel about assistants with head coach aspirations? Corn, you got on here late. Go watch the whole beginning. Most assistant coaches have head coach aspirations. Most assistants have head coach aspirations. At least I would think, right? At some point. It may not be a head coach on the same level, but a high school assistant may want to be a head middle school coach, right? High school assistant may want to be a head college coach. Like me, I was always the head sophomore coach at Hyde Park. Martell, Fabian, all those dudes, right? Then, but as the assistant sophomore or the head sophomore, I was always the assistant varsity coach. I understood things that I needed to do, and I would have those conversations with some of those varsity players, Stefan Hanna and Marvin Lee, God rest his soul, and all those other guys, right? I would have conversations with those guys kind of off the cuff, just me and them me getting to know them, having a personable conversation, and we're mixing basketball. But my reason for going to college, I was still head sophomore coach. And one year I did sophomore and freshman, head coach, and then assistant varsity. But what I saw was the players that I coached on sophomore level, and by the time they got to varsity, all of them didn't have college options. So I said, well, man, I got a relationship with their parents, with them. I want them to get a free education. So I took Malcolm Griffin and a group of other guys. Malcolm was a freshman. Malcolm played for me as a sophomore, right? Or Malcolm played as a freshman on my sophomore team. Well, I took them to Western Michigan, Steve Hawkins, right? Head coach, right? They had a great staff. Clayton Banks, Jeff Dunlap. They had my man Corn that's at Corn is in Michigan right now, and another guy, Jason, right? And so they brought us in, and I went to go work camp because I just wanted to see how the college level was as a coach now that I wasn't playing college. And we went to the team camp. I took my sophomore team and guys that wasn't really playing on a varsity team, took them. We won the consolation. Malcolm Griffin had his first verbal offer from Western Michigan that day. And then they called me back to come work camp. And from there, I said, I want to go work college because I want to help my players get an opportunity. And then the next year, I went and I volunteered at South Suburban. Never got paid. Volunteer assistant at South Suburban. And I learned the game like Coach Crosley said. I learned the game on a higher level. And then the next year, I got a head coaching job. That don't happen like for everybody like that. But it was the perfect opportunity for me at Truman. And then while I was at Truman, Malcolm X was kind of gearing me up to come over there. And I'm like, y'all already got a coach. I ain't coming over there. Y'all got a coach. Y'all talking to me when y'all got another coach. One, that's tampering. But two, like, y'all gonna probably do it to me. And I went over there and like they were doing the same thing to me right? Like somebody told me a long time ago, if your woman was cheating on you with their old boyfriend, what make you think she ain't gonna cheat on you with the new one? And that's kind of what happened with me, right? I was like, no, I won't. But Malcolm X was a dream job. Went there, we did amazing things. But then they were in their own little thing. But to answer your question, I think most assistants want to be head coaches, and they should. And the head coach has to be able to teach them to be an assistant, right? Yep. Yep. Got to be an assistant before you leave. Yep. Assistants must echo the sentiments of the head coach in public and most importantly in private. They have to. I had a coach tell me, right, and let's be 1,000% transparent. When I first got to South Suburban, I remember Coach P told me, he said, don't talk to my players. Now, Coach P was my coach at Jordan Camp when I was a freshman or in 8th grade. When I was in 8th grade, Coach Bugatti was my coach. So we had a relationship. But he said, don't talk to my players. I'm like, damn, I'm on your staff. What you mean don't talk to my players? And here's what he told me. He said, because I need to make sure everybody talking to my players is saying the same thing I'm saying. And we had a conversation. And I was like, okay, I understand why you said that, and I can appreciate that. But to Nigel's point, I started talking to them in public. Okay, I ain't gonna talk to him because I had pulled one to the side. And it was crazy because his grandmama house had burned down. He was ready to go back home and everything. And I brought it to the coach, like, dude, he like, yeah, I know. He like, but like, don't talk, like, let me talk to my players. He said, because I want to make sure that they're hearing what I need them to hear, because he's ready to go home. And I understand he's ready to go home, but I don't want him to hear something that make him just up and leave, because what I have in store for him in the end is going to all work out. And this dude has his own professional team overseas, like doing great. I talk to Shannon all the time, but I started talking to him in public. And then coach understood, okay, he telling him the same thing I'm saying, just in his own language. And then what happened? And then he seeing guys like, coach, can I talk to you? And one time, one of the players like, can I talk to you? And I kind of walked and I turned and looked at P, and he gave me one of them. And it was up from there because he trusts me at that point, right? He was like, I know you're my player, but I just need, because again, my family got to eat. Yeah. Schofield, exactly. Fred Schofield. Hey, y'all know Sco, right? Sco was the stat keeper, man. And they won all them, and Sco got rings. He was a stat keeper. Some assistant coaches really think they keep his stats is beneath. Oh, Mark, Mark, talk about it. Talk about it, Mark. Man, what? Well, I'm gonna do that for. Why? Let me go back here. I have solutions for your head coach. Don't point out the obvious, right? Because the head coach gonna be like, man, stop shooting the ball or go to the basket. Hey, coach, man, do you know that he 3 for 4 in the right corner? So now when the coach called timeout, now let the head coach get on him about what he need to do. All right. Assistant coaches must have servant leadership. Hey, Nigel, before you got on, so we went over traits, bench decorum, roles, and responsibilities. The very first thing of traits, right? Y'all see my notes? Selfless. Selfless. You have to be selfless, and you have to be a servant leader. You have to. But because most people aren't servant leaders, they don't even understand what servant leadership is. Therefore, they think keeping stats are beneath them. I'm just saying. Yep. Hit me, Mike. Yep. There you go. Yep. You are more than welcome, Mike. You are more than welcome, man. And I was contemplating, right? So I'm going back out to some games today, right? Like I got a date, right? I got a meetup date with Nigel, Coach Nigel, right? Because we well overdue, right? Like that's family, like just right, it's family. So I got to meet up with him. I'm going to check out, right? So, and again, I'm keeping this local right now. I'm going to see Rich Township and Hillcrest, right? That's the game I want to see. But both of those teams had administrative issues yesterday. But I want to see if some changes have been made today. And I hope somebody can share this with the staff, because I want to see them tracking things today. I want to see them being valuable today. Again, it wasn't all the coaches. It wasn't all of them. And I know what some of the coaches' roles are and why they don't have nothing. But even the ones that didn't have nothing, they were valuable in their own right, because I understand what value they bring to the head coach, right? See, it's different. What value do you bring to the head coach? Everybody may not be doing the same thing, but I understand the value they bring to the head coach. It was one coach that sat in front of me. He didn't even sit on the bench. But every time out, he made sure he let one of the assistants know, hey, coach, we got 3 timeouts left. We got 2 timeouts left. He was valuable. But he was an older coach. Another of the older coaches had an iPad. Let's just get better, y'all. Please. Let's just get better. I just want the game to get better. That's why in my life, right? So that's why, right? If it's understanding life through the game of basketball, a guide to effective leadership and coaching, creating the perfect storm, teaching today's athlete, experience, performance, development, rise above the rim, embracing the power of positive affirmations in basketball. Regardless, and you see, right, this is the proof. So the book comes out December 31st. So you see, this is the proof because it's say not for resale here, right? But they're being delivered today. All right. But I'm just saying, let's make the game better. The reason that I wrote 3 books, I've been doing this for 30 years, man. I've been doing this for 30 years. And I've put it in books. I can put the cheat code in books. I want to help the game. And helping the game, I understand that I need to help people. If that's coaches, if that's players, if that's parents. I am a servant leader. And I want to improve and grow this game. But we have to do better, and we have to hold each other accountable. So, again, if you're a coach, head coach, assistant coach, and you don't have this book, one for yourself, even be to bring some of your players in and say, hey, man, just read this chapter. But you need to get some bulk orders for your team. I don't care if they're on the middle school level, the high school level, the college level, or the professional level. Athletes talk to themselves, and they need to know what to say when they do talk to themselves. Coaches, most coaches still ain't got this book. Most coaches still ain't got this book, and it was written 6 years ago. The athletes need this book. Parents can pick up all of them to understand what your kid is dealing with. But I just wanted to come on here today and just teach this thing because it was heavy on my heart. And I know that some coaches may feel a certain way. I don't care. I don't care, really, if you take it offensive. And I say it again, I think most coaches are selfish. I think most coaches, especially in the Illinois area, I'm gonna be transparent. Other than Cornelius Crosley, I haven't had a coach in Fabian Chapman and Cornelius Crosley. I haven't had a coach reach out to me yet this year. Well, probably the last 3 years. Most of my clients, all of my clients are out-of-state coaches, out-of-state players. Because most people believe they know too much, especially in the Chicagoland area. So I really don't care what y'all think. I think a lot of y'all selfish. And here's what I told one coach, one high-profile coach. I said, here's what my coach told me. Here's what Eric Thomas told me. E.T., hip-hop preacher. He said, if you don't share your story, you're selfish. He said, the reason that I'm on here today, because I heard his echo. He said, if you're not sharing information, you're selfish. Because it's somebody that you can help with one conversation. It's somebody that you can help with one piece of instruction. It's somebody that you can help with one story. And if you're so jaded, if you're so into yourself to where you're not able to share that story, teach that lesson, share your insights, you're selfish. Because there's somebody on the other side that's going to receive it, and it's going to change their life forever. See, what coaches need to understand is that somebody's destiny is tied to our assignment. Somebody's destiny is tied directly to our assignment. So I told a couple head coaches, I said, you selfish. They said, what? I said, I've been asking you to come in and talk to your team, to your program, and you haven't done it. I said, so you selfish because you only want your voice to be heard. Now, remember, I told y'all sometime out, I was telling my assistant coaches, I need everybody to shut up, be quiet, because I'm the only voice I want y'all to hear. There are times in which your voice needs to be the only one that needs to be heard. But if you're attempting to do it and your players are only hearing the same voices all the time, and they're not hearing from some subject matter experts that you deem highly effective, then you selfish. And especially for the coaches that have reached out to me throughout the years, or the coaches that I have reached out to just check on throughout the years, I don't do nothing to get nothing in return. Never have, never will. But for them coaches that I reach out to, and a lot of them coaches that have reached out to me over the years, coaches, people, adults, right? Reach out to me, asking about your kids, whatever, the same people. You ain't bought a book. You ain't brought me in to talk to your staff. You ain't brought me in to talk to your players. Some of the parents, your kids ain't been involved in anything that we've done. But guess what? I'm still going to teach because I'm a servant leader. And I'm not selfish. But just know that some of your problems, some of your athletes' problems, some of your coaches' problems can probably be solved. Or can probably get an aha moment, a light bulb moment by hearing what I got to say. All right? So if it's good enough for free, it's damn sure good enough for fee. All right? But I just gave y'all an hour and 15 free fire. And I hope that some assistant coach takes this and uses this to their advantage. I really do. I hope some coach listens to this and sits their coaches down to watch this. See, because you can have your assistant coaches watch this and y'all relationship won't even change. You ain't even got to be the bad guy. Let this video be the bad guy, because now they're going to learn a little bit. And trust me, the assistant coaches that's watching this, if your head coach sent this to you, they just want you to be better. Otherwise, they would have never sent it to you. All right? So listen, I don't come out a lot, but I know I'll be out today because I want to see that game. All right. If anybody wants to pre-order, right? Pre-order any of the books for your team, your program, all right, then you can definitely go to my website, carvelbailey.com/books. Book, all right, carvelbailey.com/book. All right, right there. If y'all want to get a copy of the first and only affirmation workbook for basketball players. Today's the 27th. On December 30th, all right, we got our holiday basketball camp. We are going from, let me see if I can get the flyer. All right, we are going from, I believe, 12 to 3. Yep, 7 to 7 to 10-year-olds, all right, and 11 to 17-year-olds. All right, we going from 10 to 3, $55. All right, it is on my page as well. All right, holiday cap. Scan the code if you need to. Scan the code if you need to. All right, that is December 30th, and then our game changer, Winter League, our game changer. All right, 7 weeks, $150, T-shirts, and straight development. All right, Mondays 1st through 5th, Fridays 6th through 12th. Now listen, again, I don't care what level your athlete play. I don't really care who their coach is because it ain't about, right? Here's what most coaches think. Oh, don't talk to my players. Don't steal my players. As opposed to, why not? Can you help my players? Can you help me help my players? And that's what we do, right? That's what we do. But listen, y'all got multiple options, all right, to work with us. All right, our fall league, as well as our holiday basketball camp, as well as you can go and grab the book. All right, anybody got any last comments? All right, was this helpful? Please, was it helpful? All right, I just want to ask this question. Was it helpful? Was it helpful? Just drop a yes, no, on a scale of 1 to 10. How about that? On a scale of 1 to 10, how helpful was this? How helpful was this for you as the parent, as the coach? How helpful was this for you today? Yeah, okay. Got some 10s. 9.5. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Yep. All right, y'all. Well, listen. That's about it. All right. I'm about to go get in this sauna and get ready to get my day started. All right. 10. My man B Hole say 10. Hey, B. I'm going to pull you on here one day. And I told you, it's like me and you going to connect and because you really understand. All right. You are John McClendon. Extension, right? That's the best word that I could use. You understand the game. You was taught the game. You understand how it is. But yes, let's connect, man, and make something happen for these kids. Definitely, right? Yeah. Anytime you can learn one thing is a 10 of 10. Hey, Edge, listen. Now listen, y'all see Edge in the back, his profile picture. Hey, I be looking at farm and stuff, and I be tagging you on it, right? But I gotta call you because so remember I told you that I was having the issue with the rabbit and my kale. Rabbit ate all my kale. Well, the kale, my stalks is still there, right? It's December, but the kale is still growing. I want to pull my stalks out and I want to plant them in the house so that my kale can continue to grow. But I'm gonna need your help on that. I know you're a subject matter expert on that. I know track, well, basketball definitely, but I know track. I need to come to you, right? When I'll go to my brother, I need to come to you, but also definitely on the gardening. I need to know how to pull my kale out of my garden and replant them, and then hopefully maybe put them back in the garden or somehow start a whole new thing. But I got 3 stalks, and the bunny rabbit gone, or he don't mess with it no more because he ate everything. But I need to know that. All right. So anything you can learn, one thing is a 10 out of 10, and you already know what's going on. Discipline, B. Hey, Coach John McClendon. Hey, B. How many basketball players do you know nowadays could probably play 3-on-3 full court, no dribble, like John McClendon had it? Tracy Webster, you were telling a lot of truth. Tracy Webster. Trey, can I please get you on Life in Basketball? Me and you done already had this conversation. And I already know that you probably laughing at your computer right now. I already know that that you probably laughing. But I mean, I'm just saying, Trey, let's make it happen, right? So we can tell a lot more truth. All right. Yep, B. Yep, definitely. Okay, he was multitasking. Okay, Ed, you got me. Thank you. How many players can play 3-on-3 full court like John McClendon? Emphatically, none. Listen, we would play that game, And I would put 4 garbage cans on each corner. And I would let my players know, here's where the garbage cans are. And 3-on-3 full court, no dribble. And here's the thing. The losers got to stay on. The losers got to stay on. No dribble, 3-on-3 full court. You can't play basketball if you're not in condition to play basketball. Hey, Ed. So this is my man, Ed Jones. Listen, before I get off here, I want to share this with y'all. I was going from, and I hope this conversation that we talking about, Ed, but I was hesitant to go JUCO. I knew I needed to go to the college level to help my players out. Coach Ed Jones, right, played at Maine. Amazing ball player. First of all, Ed Jones is the only player to have tryouts, and he only brought out the ball for about 10 minutes. He had a public tryout, and all we did was run. I'm like, hey, you gonna bring the ball out? He like, hey, they got to be in shape to play for us, South Suburban. So, and they was quitting. By the time Ed brought the ball out, trials was over, right? It was crazy, but you got to be in shape. And they want to play, but they ain't ready to play. But I called Ed and I said, Ed, man, listen, I want to know how to do this, because Ed was the associate head coach at South Suburban. And I said, Ed, I want to know how to do this, but I'm a little nervous about going to the college level. And Ed said, Carvel, listen, let me share this with you. He said, JUCO is sort of like an extension of high school. He said players enter JUCO for several reasons. I was in my kitchen on the phone talking to Ed about this. And he said, I want to be honest with you. He said, don't worry about it. He said, I'm going to be there to help you, right? I had to be coachable. He said, but players go to junior college because they're not ready academically, physically, socially, emotionally, mentally, or physically. He said, it's not that they're bad players. He said, but those players are lacking in something. And so they have to come to junior college to develop in one of several areas: mentally, physically, socially, emotionally, academically, right? Sometimes they got to build their strength, right, which is physically, and mental. We already talked about that. He was like, so we're the development people. We got to help them develop so they can be that, so they can get that. The reason a lot of athletes don't have what they want is because they haven't become the person they need to be to get that thing they want. The reason most coaches haven't got what they want because they haven't become the person they need to be to get that thing that they want. That's a life lesson for anybody. The reason we don't have the things in which we want is because we haven't become the person that we need to be in order to get that thing. When I got a head college coaching job, I had become the person I needed to be to get the job that I got at that time. Little known history fact, I interviewed for Malcolm X college job twice. One time I interviewed for Malcolm X college job, the men's job, and my interview was so good, they called me back in and said, the women's job open. Do you want the women's job? And I said, nah, I came here to interview for the men's job. So while I appreciate you offering me the women's job, that's not the job that I'm applying for. But I walked out confidently because I said, ooh, you said something, and they know they need you. But I said, no, that's not the job I applied for. And they gave the job to Coach Cubby Dildy, my main man, Cubby Dildy. And I went to South Suburban and to volunteer, zero pay. And I called Ed on the phone, and we had this conversation. And Ed was like, listen, man, you're going to have to go check study hall. He's like, listen, I'm going to tell you, like, P going to do everything that P need to do. He said, we just need to make sure the uniforms washed. We got the travel suits out, right? We switching practice uniforms every day. We got the book. We got the scouting report, everything. Like, we need to make sure we, to Nigel's point, make sure we have solutions to his problems, because he's going to create problems in his own head, but let's make sure that we have the solutions to his problem and make sure that we out the way. Like, go check on them dudes in study hall, let them know in the door, don't be playing around. If I see y'all outside the library, if I see y'all outside, then now it's going to be an issue with us. Because I ain't even about to take that back to the head coach. Oh, man, them dudes left study hall early, or them dudes was asleep. Right? Like, Ed taught me how to, I'm like, damn, Ed, like, my daughter, like 2, like, Ed was like, man, you might not have to, man, you ain't gonna have to stay in study hall with them the whole time. But you gotta let them know, like you gotta do 2 or 3 rounds so they know that your face is somewhere around. Like, you gotta let them dudes know that you somewhere in the building and they better not leave out because they're gonna see you. And if they see you, if you see them, it's gonna be issues. And they need to know that. Like Coach P used to have me, I had to get with every player and find out all of their classes, every assignment they have for every class every month. Like, we was tracking. It's the reason South Suburban is the reason that they are. We tracked everything. So now when I come, hey, Billy Rush, you get that paper done? Hey, Ricky Claiborne, did you turn in that thing? Right now, we got personal conversations because I already know I got this list and I'm pull it up. You said this was due October 26th. Is it done? It's October 15th. We ain't got time to play. But Ed Jones taught me all this over the phone, and then he walked me through it so that I know how to do it. And it stayed with me for the rest of my life. My man, Cy. You were supposed to call me back, Cy. But, listen, Cy, February 9th, we bringing things like this. February 9th, we bringing things like this to our professional development for athletic directors, right? We doing the professional development for athletic directors February 9th. It's a CPS professional development day, right? So I need you there, and I'm going to send you the information. I need you to pass to all your AD buddies, everything, right? We going to help this game. All right? But yeah, Nigel is my main man, all right? Yep. Greg, thanks, man. All right, I just try to be valuable as much as possible. All right, but listen, y'all, it's 1 o'clock. I got to go get in this sauna real quick. I was supposed to go do it early in the morning, but I'm gonna go get this detox in. Now that I done got it out, now I'm gonna go get this detox in, get myself dry, and get ready to get up here and watch some basketball. Listen, I hope this was helpful. Share this, please. Share this again. Share this with somebody that you know. All right, if you haven't got on my email list, right, for my coaches, we will be doing another cohort, probably starting in the middle of January. Reach out to me if you want to skip the line and get on that waiting list to be the first to be called for it. Definitely reach out to me, to my parents, if you want for more information on how to be able to better help your athlete when it comes down to being a better player, being a better person, and the whole recruitment landscape. All right. Go check out this case study video I made at BeTheRightRecruit.com. BeTheRightRecruit.com. All right. Go check that out. Let me go do what I got to do. It's always hard getting off here, especially when it's going good. But I'll holler at y'all. Remember, share this with somebody that you love that can be helpful. All right. So on the way out, we're going to play this theme music one more time. And I really want y'all to listen to the words. Listen to the words in this song. All right. Peace.
Yo, just so you understand it, this is Coach Carvel Bailey's program with the spirit of Bob Hambry. This is Blessed of All, helping athletes, and we represent. Study your craft, your mentality leads to excellence. It's all about your mindset. We'll never stop addressing this, so be positive and not a pessimist. Confidence took James Harden higher. If you really want it, it ain't gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard as carbon fiber, but we got you. From counseling to workshops, we do it. You'll go farther with a scholarship. We'll help you get recruited. Yo, anyone can dribble and shoot, but it's the ones who study basketball internally that make it to Duke University. knowledge goes around. The game is played from the neck up and not from the shoulders down. This is Bless the Ball, helping you with obstacles. The athletes are the rocket, bless the ball is the rocket fuel. If you hit a wall, we can help you slowly climb it. So keep a Mamba mentality like Kobe Bryant. Bless the ball. Cherish the opportunities that you have. Bless the ball. Use your mentality to master the craft. Bless the ball. Come join our team, it's a new day. Follow our steps and watch how much better you play. Bless the ball. Cherish the opportunities that you have. Bless the ball. Use your mentality to master the craft. Bless the ball. Come join our team, it's a new day. Follow our steps and watch how much better you play. Yo, Coach Carvel Bailey. Hey, listen to your coach, man. He ain't no scrub off the street. That man got credentials, academic and street. Believe it. And my name is Strategic.